We worship you. We welcome you into this place tonight, God. As you are holy, you are holy. Oh, we lift our voices in adoration. We lift our voices in adoration. Oh, you are glorious, oh God. You are holy. You are we lift you up. Let your praises rain down in this place, oh God. Let your presence rain down in this place, oh. We lift you up, oh God. 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 Lift your name on high. Let's all just stand and worship him. Let's just give him all we got tonight. Let's not hold back at all. Let's just everything that's gone on throughout the week. We're halfway through the week, and let's just start a new, fresh half of the week. Give him everything. I want the cry of Moses. I want the ears of Samuel. I want the heart of Mary. But most of all, I want the likeness of Jesus. I want the prayers of Daniel. I want the voice of John. Walk of Enoch, but most of all, I want the likeness of Jesus. From glory to glory, oh, I am transformed. Nothing's between us, the veil been torn. From glory to glory, oh, I am transformed. Nothing's between us, the veil has been torn. Whoa. Most of all, I want the likeness of Jesus. I want the prayers of Daniel. I want the voice of John. I want the walk of Enoch. But most of all, I want the likeness of Jesus. Yeah! Come on. From The veil has been torn. From glory to glory, oh, I am transformed. Nothing's between us. The veil has been torn. The veil's 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 been torn. We want the likeness of Jesus. We want the likeness of Jesus. Yeah. Nothing's between us. The veil has been torn. Whoa. Sing this with all your heart. Oh, I want to be holy as He is holy. I want to be righteous as He is righteous. I want to be loving as He is loving. But most of all, I want to be like Jesus. Oh, I want to be holy as He is holy. I want to be righteous as He is righteous. I want to be loving as He is loving. But most of all, I want to be like Jesus. Yeah. Oh, I want to be holy as He is holy. I want to be righteous as He is righteous. I want to be loving as He is loving. But most of all, I want to be like Jesus. Oh, I want to be holy as He is holy. I want to be righteous as He is righteous. I want to be loving as He is loving. But most of all, I want to be like Jesus. Yeah. But most of all, I want to be like Jesus. Oh, we want to be like you, Jesus. We want to be like you, Jesus. When people look at us, we want them to see your face, oh God. We want them to see your face, oh God. flows right through my veins. Your love seizes my heart. cast out of the dark. Yeah. So let us ride on the wings of your love. Ride on the wings of your love. Ride on the wings of your love. Carry us away on the breath of your breath. Your love, it's what I live for. Your love, it's what I die for. Your love, I can't avoid, yeah. Your love, it's overtaken me, yeah. Let us ride on the wings of your love. Ride on the wings of your love. Ride on the wings of your love. Carry us away on the breath of your presence. Let us ride on the wings of your love. Ride on the wings of your love. Ride on the wings of your love. And carry us away on the breath of your presence. Ride on your wings, oh God. 'Cause you have our hearts. You have our hearts. You have our hearts, Jesus. You have our hearts. 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 Let us ride on the wings of your love. Ride on the wings of your love. Ride on the wings of your love. Carry us away on the breath of your presence. Let us ride on the wings of your. Ride on the wings of your love. Ride on the wings of your. Carry us away the breath of your presence. Oh, we want to ride away with you, oh God. Like the wings of eagles, God. We want to soar into the sky, oh God. We want to soar on your wings of glory. Oh, yeah. We want to fly away. Fly me like the eagle, oh God. Fly us away. So let us ride on the wings of your love. Ride on the wings of your love. Ride on the wings of your. Carry us away on the breath of your presence. Oh, your love is so sweet. Your love is so sweet, oh God. Your love is so sweet, oh God. We love you so much, oh God. We lift your name higher, God. We sing praises to your name. Praises to your the name that's so much higher than all names. And all honor to your name. Honor to your name. The name that's so much higher than all names. So be lifted up, be lifted higher, be lifted up, be lifted higher. We sing praises to your name. Praises to your name. The name that's so much higher than all names. And all honor to your name. Honor to your name. The name that's so much higher than all names. So be lifted up, be lifted higher, yeah. Be lifted up, be lifted higher. Be lifted up, be lifted higher. Be lifted up, be lifted higher. It's your name. It's your name is life. Your name is hope inside. Hope inside. Your name is love. Your name is hope inside. Hope inside. Your name is life. Your name is hope inside. Hope inside. Your name is love. A love that always finds me. Always finds me. So be lifted up, be lifted high. Your name is life. Your name is hope inside. Hope inside me. Your name is love. A love that always finds me. Your name is life. Your name is hope inside. Hope inside. Your name is love. A love that always finds. Always finds. So be lifted up. fire, oh God. Oh God, we just want to bask in your glory, Lord. We just want to bask in your glory, Lord. We just want to bask in your glory, God. Tonight, tonight, we just want to bask in your glory, God. We just want to bask in your glory, God. We just want to bask in your glory tonight, tonight. We just want to bask in your glory, God. Just want to bask in your glory, God. We just want to bask in your glory tonight, tonight. We just want to bask in your glory, God. We just want to bask in your glory tonight, tonight. Yeah. We lift you up. We lift you up. We lift you up. We lift you up. We lift you up tonight. Oh, tonight. We lift you up. We lift you up. We lift you up. We lift you up. We lift you up tonight, 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 tonight. 'Cause we lift you up, God. We lift you up, God. We lift you up, God. Tonight, tonight, tonight. Tonight, tonight. So be lifted up, be lifted higher, be lifted up, be lifted higher. Be lifted up. about how amazing God is. Think of all the things that He's done for you throughout your lives, throughout the week. Every little thing that He does is beyond our comprehension. It's beyond our understanding some of the things that He does for us. He's so beautiful. He's so loving and lovely. He's so caring. He's everything. And even though I do not deserve it, you flood me with your mercy. You reach down with your mighty right hand, and you sweep me off my feet, and you are God. And you You are the healer of my heart. You are mighty. You are victorious. You are the healer of my heart. You are God, and I will praise you. God, we lift you up. God, we lift you up. We lift your name above all other names. God, we lift you up. God, we lift you up. God, we lift your name on high. We lift your name on high. God, we lift you up. God, we lift you up. We lift your name high, high. You are mighty. You are victorious. You are the healer of my and you are God. And you are God. You are my God. And you are my God. You are my God, and I will praise you. You are my best friend. You will never leave my side. God, I love you. God, I love you. You are my best friend. You are my best friend. God, I love you. I love
Thank you, God, for visiting us. Lord, there's really nothing better than you. Oh, we don't just say that. We've experienced it. We ask that we'd continue to experience it tonight in a new way, in a way that we've never felt before. God, you're the best thing that's ever happened to us. God, we ask that you'd blow us away tonight. Lord, our minds would be blown with just how good you are. We would leave this meeting saying to one another, saying to everyone that we know, oh my God, I had no idea. I knew he was good. I didn't know he was that good. Lord, I ask that you'd really blow our minds tonight. May we really get it. You're the best thing. Rocky, would you just sing that one more time? You are good. You are God.
and you are God. And you are God.
bless you tonight, God. We give this whole time over to you, where we were thinking about other things all week long or doing other stuff all week long. We set this time aside for you. Lord, I just say over anyone here, if they needed any type of breakthrough in their life, I say tonight is the night that it all shifts, that everything begins to change. Whatever situation you are in, well, I just declare for you a shifting in the season. Lord, we ask God that everything would begin to open up tonight. Jesus, we bless you. In Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you, Rocky. Thank you, worship team. Javier, good to see you. My name is Cole. Thank you guys for being here tonight. I just want to invite everybody up really close to me because I feel like you're far away, and I just don't like it when you're far away. You gotta. Oh, we got these first 2 rows open. You can come up here, hang out front row. You don't have to stay in the middle. You can come all the way up. That is totally fine. Thank you so much for coming. We really are so excited to have you here. I just flew in an hour ago. I was with Todd in West Palm Beach, and Todd was doing meetings there, and we were having a really powerful time, some really awesome miracles taking place. The normal Christian life, the normal Todd life. I think the Lord's used Todd to really show us what it's really supposed to look like, everyday stuff. But anyways, we were having a powerful time there, and a really awesome time at the beach. I love the beach. Does anybody else love the beach? I went to Disney World the other day. That was fun. That was my first time there. Has anybody ever been there before? I can't believe I'd never been there until 28 years old, but it was fun. And let's see. Well, I'm just going to share a word with you tonight, something that has really changed my life. But before I do that, I just wanted to just get the offering out of the way, get the announcements out of the way. We have a video for the new School of Revival. Do we have that video ready to play? It's a brand new video, and it's really good. Is that you? All right. We're going to show it here in a second. You guys can tell me what you think.
I was so hungry to give all that I had to Jesus. Every day for 90 days, 3 months, it was like a glory liquid honey cloud. The fire for revival came out of the Shekinah glory of God's presence. Literally, the cloud of God's glory touched my life. If you're going to preach for an hour, you need to do the stuff for an hour. We're going to contend for an outpouring of God's Spirit in our school. We'll not just talk about revival, but really have revival. This is going to be a true school of impartation where you're going to catch the fire and spirit of revival. People are going to experience the presence of Jesus. An everyday culture of kingdom where Christianity and the supernatural is a lifestyle, fire. This September through December 8th, we're offering our first semester focused on revival, power evangelism, our School of the Prophets, our School of the Supernatural, our School of Healing and the Anointing, teaching on identity, experiencing the presence and power of Jesus, the secret place, gifts of the Holy Spirit. It's going to be a great opportunity for you to receive training, equipping, and activation. We really want people to come and to have a growing community of relationship, a growing culture of revival, where they can experience the presence and power of Jesus to release healing and deliverance to others. This could be a time for you to catch the spirit of revival. We need revival in our hearts.
It's going to be really, really good. Actually, way better than that, even. It's going to be a really powerful, life-changing time. When Todd was talking about that, I was just thinking about that 90-day encounter that he had where the glory would actually show up in his house. It was almost like he'd been, we talk about going after God, but it was almost like he'd gone after God just so hard that he'd actually maybe laid hold of him. And he was getting his whole life shaken, and he was getting his whole life messed up in such a good way. Don't you love seasons like that, where actually you don't just go after God, do your 5-minute devotional, and that was good, all right, punched in, punched out, but you actually, you literally are just, you end up so obsessed with him. You start to see him, almost like unveiled. It's just like this new experience with him. You're like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. I love seasons like that. I really want another one really soon. You know what I'm talking about? Not just fulfilling, okay, that was a good, good Christian moment, but to lay hold of him and not be able to let go because it was too much. I love that. Anyways, next week Todd's going to be here, and Rick's going to be here as well. Rick Joyner's going to be here, and they're going to have the baby dedication next week. So you guys that are here tonight, you guys can have the front row, and everybody else that wasn't here, they can sit in the very back. No, but anyways, just tell anybody that you know, and Rick's going to be here, and Todd's going to be here, and they're going to be dedicating baby Paris. So it's going to be a really cool, really special time. And also, Greater Glory Gathering is this summer. Charlie Shamp, Mel Tari. It's going to be really cool. Love to have you guys here. And we're also still signing people up for Mexico. If you've been thinking about it, it's not too late yet. You can still sign up for Mexico. So we are going to do the offering, and the thing that I love about the reason why I'm here at Fresh Fire, I started working here for free when I first started. It was kind of an internship, and I just kind of started for free, and because I was so I just wanted more of God. I wanted more of missions. I wanted more of evangelism. I wanted more of the supernatural in my life. So I just started coming and hanging around Todd, and it was awesome. And things began to open up in my life. But I just loved it so much. I just did it for free, and it was that awesome to me. It was not work to me. It was the most exciting thing I could be doing was serving the Lord, serving the anointing. And so, but I was just thinking about, as we go into the offering, I was just thinking about one of my favorite stories of Todd, and he was in Africa. This was several years ago, and Shani, you might have been there, but I guess Todd had put up posters everywhere. They'd marketed for a crusade. They're going to try to get a bunch of people saved, and in Africa, and right, I guess on the poster it said, "Free miracles, signs and wonders, come out." And so people, were coming out. And right before Todd's about to go on stage, the guy who's kind of over the security says to Todd, "Hey, Todd," this guy that was doing security, he was also, I guess, Benny Hinn's security guard when Benny Hinn would come to that particular nation. He'd say, "Hey, Todd, I just want you to know that we're in a Muslim area, and if people do not get healed tonight, then they have the right to stone you." And so Todd, being Todd, his eyes just got really big, and he just ran up on stage, grabbed the mic, and said, "Bring me your worst cripples, bring me your worst sick, and if they don't get healed, then you can stone me." That was what he said. And so they brought the very worst out. The imams, the Muslim clerics, the different people. They brought out the very worst in the village. People had known crippled since birth, blind from birth, all these types of things. And they all got healed one after another down the line. Now, the interesting thing is that this particular city was it was like notorious for it had kicked Reinhard Bonnke out like 10 years earlier. And so Reinhard couldn't get a breakthrough in that city that was like, it was known for being that one city. And so Todd, of course, wanted to go there. And, Muslims, it was just really terrible spiritually. But that night, one of the ladies that got healed was, she had some type of crippling thing, and everybody knew her. In government. She was like famous in government there. And when she got healed and everybody knew what she had, all of a sudden revival broke out and like 40,000 people gave their life to the Lord. And then all of a sudden it just opened up and everybody started getting saved. And then to this day, it's this thriving Christian city. There was a literal move of God that happened. It went from a Muslim village city that kicked Reinhard out to in one night, the power of God shows up and it totally shifts. I love that. I love that kind of stuff. There's so many stories like that. Stories I could tell you. You just start crying right now. It's just like, it's amazing what happens when we just go for it in life, what God will do. It's not just a cool story to say, oh, look what Todd did, but it's amazing when we cut loose and just go for it with the Lord. Something miraculous happens. So anyway, stuff like that is the reason why I'm here. And anyways, and that just kind of thing is we're doing mission to Pakistan this year, mission to Mexico, and just as you guys, if you feel led to just give anything tonight, I just invite you. Just ask the Lord, what would you have me give tonight? We're just sowing into this. We're sowing into missions, the supernatural, revival. We're sowing into that type of thing. And so anyways, you should have an envelope in front of your chair, maybe under your chair if you're on the front row. And there's an envelope there, and I'll just give you a moment to fill that out if you'd like to. But thank you guys so much for being here. We really think that God's got something for you tonight. I'm going to speak about something that has really been changing my life, and then I'm going to prophesy over everyone here. So that's going to be good too. But I'm really excited about what the Lord's wanting to do with us tonight. I think He's going to renew our thinking, and I'm going to talk about the spirit of prophecy. Yeah. And I guess we can go ahead and pass the buckets. If you're ready, we can go ahead and pass the buckets for the offering. But yeah, let's sow into this kind of stuff. Let's sow into missions. Let's sow into whole cities getting turned upside down. I think that kind of stuff is really good to sow into. It's might be the most important thing we could ever sow into. Yeah. All right, so here we go. Don't you guys just love the prophetic? I know that we're a lot of us have grown up around Morningstar, around Mahesh Chavdas, different places like that where we operate in the prophetic, and we can all prophesy. We all know that. And but the prophetic has been becoming something way more than just a nice prophetic word, than a nice, you got your revelation, interpretation, application, then you give your word. We all know the 3 steps to a prophetic word. We got that down pat. But the prophetic has been becoming something more life-changing than that for me. And it's there's a prophetic spirit that you can walk in where everything becomes prophetic. You start to see everything through the Lord's eyes. I really love doing that kind of thing. You look at somebody for the way that they are, and they will remain that way. But if you look at somebody for who they're going to be, they will begin to transform into that person. The prophetic is actually much more powerful than we thought it was. It literally has the power to shift things, to shift people. And when you prophesy, it doesn't just shift the person, it actually shifts you too. But I'll get into that in a minute. The prophetic is way deeper than we thought. There's a reason why Paul said, earnestly desire the spiritual gifts, especially that you would prophesy. Well, why not healing? I mean, healing's pretty good. It'd be a good gift of healing, gift of faith, miracles, that type of thing. That kind of stuff would make sense to me. But Paul said, especially that you would prophesy. I think there might be something about the prophetic that we kind of know on a surface level, but we don't really get just how profound this thing really is. It's literally life-changing. And I'm just going to tell a couple of stories about that tonight. I remember I was on the road at a meeting a few weeks ago, and when we were on the road, I remember after the meeting, somebody came up and was talking to me at the book table, and I was supposed to be signing people up for mission trips and different things like that. And this person, they came up to me, and they just started saying just a bunch of random things, and I couldn't quite follow what they were saying, and I was just kind of like confused by it, and I was like, you might ever had anybody come and talk to them like that? It's like, you're like, all right, yeah, and you really have no idea what's going on, and you're like, what in the world where are we right now? And I found myself, if I can be honest, I found myself thinking, I want to get away from this person. I'm going to try to sneak away. If I got to talk to somebody. That was what I was thinking, if I'm honest with myself, if honest with you guys. I was thinking that thought, but I heard the Lord say to me, no, Cole, just keep looking. And I was like, just keep looking? What are you talking about? And all right, I'm looking. What is it? Yeah, doesn't sound like much. And he said, no, Cole, just keep looking for me. And I was like, all right, Lord, where are you at? I'm looking for you. And all of a sudden, I started to see the Lord in them. Like it was really faint at first. It was like I was seeing in the Spirit. It was almost like, when you see something on someone. But I started seeing the Lord Jesus on them, and all of a sudden their speech started to change, and they actually started to say stuff that was just like the Lord. And all of a sudden, I started having this encounter with the Lord, and I didn't even realize He was there. And I almost missed Him, and I was looking at Him, and I was like, I don't want to leave. Just keep talking. That was how it felt. And I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to leave the Lord because I was hearing Him, I was seeing Him, I was fellowshipping with Him, and He was appearing to me in an image that I wouldn't have guessed He would have come in. But isn't that how He always is? This is basic stuff, obvious stuff, right? We all know this stuff. Well, that's just part of being a Christian, is being nice to people and listening to people. No, but I was having an encounter with God. It wasn't just I was being nice. I was really seeing Him, and I was hearing Him. There was another time a few weeks ago. I was at a restaurant, and somebody sat across from me at the table. And at the table, they were talking to me, and they weren't really acting like the Lord or anything. And I was just sitting there, and I was trying to listen to them, and I wasn't really enjoying the conversation again. And I sat there, and I was looking at them, and when I was looking at them, all of a sudden, I know this sounds weird, but they started to actually, the person actually started to be transfigured right in front of me, and they started literally looking like Jesus, and I was like, I almost leaned across the table. I remember my eyes started tearing up. They started to actually transfigure in front of me, and I was like. It was all I could do to keep from saying, "Oh Lord, it's so good to see you. It's so good to see you finally. I've missed you." And anyways, I think the Lord's trying to appear to us all the time, and we're missing it sometimes. And sometimes He'll come in some of the worst situations and some of the worst people. Do you ever know that? I mean, it's amazing how the Lord will show up. There's those it says, I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. I was hungry. I was naked and you clothed me. I was in prison and you came and visited me. And something that one of my heroes, Brad, he used to say that there's something about going and visiting the Lord in prison. And you can actually visit Jesus while He's in the prison of someone else. And he's trapped in there. Everybody else is passing that person by. They're thinking, oh, that person's not Nothing special there. But no, Jesus is actually in that person. You can go and visit Jesus in prison. You can go and visit him inside of somebody and fellowship with him. All of a sudden, that person will begin to change. All of a sudden, that person, Jesus will start to come out of that person. It really is the principle of if you see somebody for the way that they are, oh, you're just a mess. That's just how you are. I see you that way. They'll remain that way. But sometimes you can prophesy not with speaking, but with how you treat people and with your eyes. You can actually prophesy with your eyes. The value that you bestow upon somebody that doesn't think they're worth anything, all of a sudden I must be worth something. All of a sudden they begin to believe that they're valuable, believe that they're worth something. You'll see a person shift, begin to flourish right there. It's amazing what will happen when you act supernatural. It's very easy, it's very normal for us to respond back to a person the way that they're putting off. They're putting off, I'm crazy and I'm a mess, and you give that right back to them. Yeah, I agree, you are crazy and you're a mess. Yep. How supernatural is that? But when you say, no, I know who you really are. Come on, you begin to see them for who they really are in that moment. You might be manifesting something opposite. You might be manifesting your worst. But right now, I know who you really are, and I call that person out. Sometimes you can say it like that. Other times you can just see them like that. The prophetic can be in the eyes, too. We're looking for him. We're looking for Jesus. He will appear to us in some of our worst situations in our lives. It's not just with bad people, it's with bad situations too. He's so present in really bad situations. We look at all these situations, oh no, it's all gone wrong. You might have had anything like that in the past month, past week even? Oh, it's all going wrong. It's all over. No, there's something amazing that the Lord's trying to bring to you in that moment. I think about the book of Isaiah, and it was written during the years of captivity. It was written during the worst time. But actually, that book, Jesus quotes that book more than any other book in the Old Testament. So it was out of the very worst season. People could have gotten down on themselves and thought, it's all over, it's all done. But no, out of that very worst season came the most revelation about Jesus. Out of your worst season, there's an opportunity for the very most revelation about Jesus to come forth. The very most revelation is going to come forth during that time. I love that. I love that Isaiah didn't just roll over and say, well, I guess we're in trouble now, and so there's no hope. All right, that's it. Paul quotes that book more than any other book in the Old Testament. It's amazing. We get supernatural and we don't just let our situation affect where we're at. Oh, that's all my circumstances are agreeing. I'm done for. No, that's the moment that you rise up and you begin to actually really get prophetic. That's when the prophetic really starts activating in your life. It's so normal for us to agree with what's around us, but we're not called to be normal. I don't want to be normal. I don't want to be natural. I want to be supernatural. Where every problem I get excited about. I was listening to another one of my heroes, Graham, the other week, and he was saying, what if it's impossible to have a miracle unless you have a problem? He said, what if it's impossible to have a miracle unless you have a problem? What if then problems then are exciting things? Something to get excited about, something to call your friend up and say, "Oh my gosh, this terrible thing just happened. I can't," and it looks pretty bad. It actually could be around for a while. Goodness knows all the upgrade this is going to lead me into. Only God knows all the breakthrough I'm going to have in my life because of this. This is the way that God thinks, that God's desiring for us to think. This is what I mean by the prophetic isn't just a nice prophetic word, revelation, interpretation, application, boom. That's just the beginning of it. We're actually going to start thinking like he thinks. And it gets contagious. We're the one with hope when everybody else is freaking out. We're the ones seeing the good thing in it and drawing that forth. This kind of stuff is really, really powerful. And I love talking about it, but mostly I love living it. That's when it gets really supernatural. And that's some of my most special moments with the Lord have been my worst moments. If you're having a bad moment today or this week, it really could be. We just get prophetic. All right, Lord, what are you saying? What's your reality? Okay, got it. Got the reality that everybody else is trying to say. What's yours? There's something significant about that. And anyways, we're all going to start to get it more tonight. I just love talking about this kind of stuff. It really helps me. Let's see. I've actually been trying to go a little bit overboard with this thing lately. You know, when you're like, the Lord shows you something, you're like really getting it finally. You're not just fascinated by the concept, but you're actually walking it out some. And I've been like practicing this thing called reverse gossip. And I was thinking about there's the story of the Good Samaritan in the Bible, and then there's the story of the bad Samaritan. Does anybody know who I'm talking about with the bad Samaritan? The woman at the well. It's not called that, but that's what I call it. And so the story of the Good Samaritan, you know, the guy's really nice and takes somebody in, and he's a Samaritan. And what's interesting about that story is that the story of the bad Samaritan is a true one, and the story of the Good Samaritan is a made-up one. So Jesus would make up good stories about bad people. He made up the story of the Good Samaritan. Jews were racist in those days towards Samaritans. They would literally go around the town that the Samaritans lived in. They would walk like way out of their way, really, really far out of their way. And so when Jesus actually walked through the town and was with the woman at the well and stayed with them, you could look at it as a harsh setting. Oh, Jesus kind of rebuked her and told her, well, no, but just him being there, that's powerful. He was coming and being with them. But Jesus actually made up good stories about bad people. I love that idea. It's like, Jesus, are you sure that was a good thing to do there? I mean, it's like, how does that really transfer to our lives? But I love it. I love to, when everyone else is in a setting. Anybody ever been around gossip before? I guess we all have, if we're alive. But so been around gossip, and everybody's just kind of agreeing that this one person is bad. You ever felt that pressure to agree? To agree in that setting, whether it's a one-on-one setting or in a group setting, you feel that pressure to agree with them. Yeah, that person is nothing good. Lately, I've been trying to just disagree with them, just flat out, and say, no, that's not true. Actually, they're really awesome, and start saying all this good stuff. Whenever I feel that pressure to agree with the negative thing, I say, no, actually, you don't even know what they're really like. What's the Lord saying about them? There's something about it when we begin to just think, all right, I'm going to think like you think, Lord, whether this looks silly, foolish, whatever, I don't really care. I'm just going to go for it. This stuff really, it preaches good, but it actually lives even better. It's really significant, the Lord's ways that he thinks. Yeah. And the reason why I love the prophetic is, and I love seeing. We have, books on how to see in the Spirit, how to develop your seer gift. But the reason why I love seeing in the Spirit is because I like seeing Jesus. It's not so I can get some cool prophetic word and impress somebody with like a great ministry moment. I just like seeing him. And lately, that's what the majority of my prophetic words have been about. Oh, I see you. I see the Lord, but I see you. And it gets really special when they're giving me every reason in the book not to see that. That's when the boom, the miracle happens. Something is confronted. There's a story in the Bible I really, really love. It talks about the prophetic, and it's one of my favorites in the whole Bible. You might remember Saul in the Old Testament, and he wasn't the nicest guy, was he? He was like, he kind of had some issues. Saul had some serious issues. 1 Samuel 10, 5 through 6. Turn in your iPads or your iPhones. I stole that from Doug Addison. But no, first, you don't have to, I'll read it. 1 Samuel 10, 5 through 6. After that, you will go to Gibeah of God, where there is a Philistine outpost. This is when Saul was young. As you approach the town, Samuel's talking to Saul here. Samuel's talking to Saul. He said, as you approach the town, you will meet a procession of prophets coming down from the high place with lyres, timbrels, pipes, and harps being played before them, and they will be prophesying. So, all right, got it. Everybody picture that. As you're going along the path, as you're kind of going up the mountain, down from the mountain will come this prophetic worship team. You know, you picture David and Shay and the band from over at Morning Star, the prophetic, picture Jesus culture, Bethel music. They're coming down the mountain, and Saul's going up the mountain as a young man. And then Samuel says to Saul, the Spirit of the Lord will come powerfully upon you, and you will prophesy with them. So Saul will prophesy with them. Okay, this messed up guy, he's going to prophesy. And then Samuel says something even more interesting. He says, and you will be changed into a different person. So I'll read that sentence one more time. The Spirit of the Lord will come powerfully upon you, and you will prophesy with them, and you will be changed into a different person. So we've talked already about how the prophetic can shift a person that you're talking to. You can speak to something, declare something, and it will cause something to shift. It can cause a person to shift. It can cause a person to have new mindsets, believe differently, begin to draw Jesus out of them. But the interesting thing that this scripture is pointing to is that the prophetic isn't just for them. It's actually for you too. It doesn't just shift them. It actually shifts you. You become a different person. When you prophesy, when you begin to speak forth, when you begin to utter forth the things that God's saying, that Jesus is saying, that the Holy Spirit is saying, it begins to change this vessel. Jesus said, it's kind of like Jesus said, it's not the things that go into a man that make him unclean, but the things that proceed forth out of his mouth. So if that's true, then the opposite's true too. The things, if bad things coming out of your mouth can make you unclean, then good things coming out of your mouth can also make you clean then, right? It would be the positive opposite. It's significant that the prophetic isn't just for everybody else, but actually it's for you as well. You might have been having a bad day, and then you have somebody that calls you up and they need prayer, and you begin to pray for them, and all of a sudden the Lord shows up, and you start prophesying. You weren't even trying to be spiritual. You were just trying to have a bad day and sulk and be in your place. You might have been like that other than me. Yes. Yeah. I've been there many days. And but it's amazing. The Lord will shift it. I start to feel myself become a different person. It's biblical. When you prophesy, they don't just change, you change too. This stuff is really significant. The prophetic is really awesome. There's a reason why Paul said, earnestly desire the spiritual gifts, especially that you would prophesy. He knew something that we didn't know. He said that's when other people start to become like Jesus, is when you prophesy, is when you start to look for the Lord in them, when you start to look for the gold in them. When they're giving you the opposite, you're looking for the good thing. And that's actually when you start to become like Jesus too. We start to take on his nature. Jesus is always prophesying. He's always believing good things about us. He's always telling us who we really are. He's always wanting to love on us like that. I love that about him. I love the way that he thinks. I want to be like him. Anybody else want to be like that? Like the Lord? Let's see. There's another cool story. 1 Samuel 19, 18 through 24. Is this stuff making sense? Okay. All right. This stuff is some of the best. It's been the best to me, at least. 1 Samuel, all right, 19, 18. David just had a spear thrown at him by Saul. That's the background of this story. So David's, just being himself, being awesome, and Saul throws a spear at him. Verse 18, when David had fled and made his escape, he went to Samuel. So he went to the prophet's house. That's a good idea. Where am I going to run to? I'm going to run to Samuel's house at Ramah, which is a really cool town name if you think about it, and told him all that Saul had done to him. Then he and Samuel went to Naioth and stayed there, and that was where Samuel had his school of the prophets. And I just think that's so interesting. In the Old Testament, they had a school of the prophets. It was a thing of like only certain people were prophets. You didn't want to say the wrong thing. Be careful. But actually, there was a school of the prophets. I think that the Lord is much more. I don't know. I just think He's much more lenient with us. I think He's wanting us to learn to speak His language. I think He's wanting us to step out with that type of thing. There was a school where Samuel would train people, which I think is so cool. Word came to Saul. David is in Naioth at Ramah, so he sent men to capture him. So Saul sends soldiers to capture David. I'm picturing, all right, I'm going to send these hardened soldiers to go up and capture David. But when they saw a group of the prophets prophesying, when the soldiers saw the prophets prophesying with Samuel standing there as their leader, the Spirit of God came on Saul's men, and they also prophesied. Okay, that's interesting. They're going up there to go capture somebody, and they get around some people prophesying, and all of a sudden, they can't help themselves. They just begin prophesying, and they get stuck up there. I love that. Saul was told about it, and he sent more men. I'm picturing maybe he'll send like some even more hardened guys, who's the baddest dudes I can find. I'll send. All right, you guys go up there. It says, and they also prophesied. Saul sent men a third time, so the baddest dudes he could find, and they also prophesied. It's just wave after wave of people, and they're getting around the presence of God, the spirit of prophecy, and they just can't help it. They've got all these bad things in their heart, right? They're working for this really messed up guy, doing this really wrong thing, and all of a sudden they get up there, and they just begin to speak forth, utter forth this thing, these prophetic words. That's such an interesting sight. I wonder what that would have looked like. Can you imagine? Finally, he himself left for Ramah and went to the great cistern at Siku, and he asked, where are Samuel and David? So Saul says, you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. Verse 23, so Saul went to Naioth at Ramah, but the Spirit of God came even on him, and he walked along prophesying until he came to Naioth. So he starts up the hill up to Naioth, and as he's walking up the hill, he's going up there. He has murder in his heart. He's going to go capture this person, a man with murder in his heart. He starts just walking up the hill. He doesn't even get up to the place before he starts prophesying. At least the hardened soldiers, they at least got to the building first. But Saul just starts up the mountain, and the whole way there, he's determined to get up there, but he's just prophesying the whole time. And the Spirit of God came even upon him. And he stripped off his clothes, he stripped off his garments, and he too prophesied in Samuel's presence. He stripped off everything that was a wrong thing that had been put on him. He was stripping off. It was that essence of what had happened to him when he was a young man. He was becoming a different person, becoming transparent before the Lord. There was this moment that he was having, and he laid at Samuel's feet. I mean, Samuel representing the anointing, Samuel representing the Lord. and you just laid at his feet. Sometimes the bigger they come, the harder they fall. Sometimes you just get somebody around the Lord, and something begins to happen to them. You might have had that happen to them recently. I know that happens to me all the time. I'll have wrong mindsets, thinking wrong thoughts, and all of a sudden I get around the Lord. All of a sudden, in a moment, I'm just undone. I'm stripped off of everything, spiritually, emotionally. All my walls are coming down. I'm just laying, crying, at his feet. I love those moments. I've got the wrong thing in my heart, and all of a sudden, in a second, God changes it all. He lay naked all that day and all that night. He says that he prophesied all night long. I love that. I love the prophetic. I love how it can change people. I love how it can change others with a prophetic word, but I love how it changes us. This stuff is really significant. And so what I've been asking for with the Lord lately is another level of the spirit of prophecy in my life. Not just more words, but more of his nature. Not just more detailed, words, but more supernatural seeing when no one else is seeing. I want to be that kind of person that sees when no one else is. I have a friend who they came back to the Lord a little while ago. When they were coming back to the Lord, they were kind of rough around the edges. You might have had any experiences like that before. You have a friend that comes back to the Lord and they're kind of rough around the edges. They got a bunch of wrong mindsets and stuff. I remember they would get into all types of anger, all types of fear, all types of different things. And I would say, all right, Lord, they're putting out this really bad thing right now. And I would actually see it in the spirit. It was almost like a cloud of smoke would come out when they'd start to manifest. This sounds weird, but this is what I would say. I'd say, Lord, I need to get supernatural right now because logic is not going to help me. I need you. All right, so I would see in the spirit, and I would see this like cloud coming out as they would manifest their anger, their fear, their just whatever was overwhelming them. And I would say, all right, okay, I see that. That's just a facade. That's just a front. All right, and then I would just, in the spirit, somehow I would just kind of peek around, and I would see what they were really saying behind that. Does that make sense? I would see what they were manifesting. Okay, that's fine, but I wouldn't settle for that. I would try to see around that thing, and I would try to see them, and I would begin to hear what their heart was actually saying. They would begin to say what I would begin to hear what they were really afraid of. They were lashing out in anger and getting really mad and flying off the handle, but I was all right. I want to hear what their heart's really saying right now. That's what you're afraid of. That's what you're worried about. It was always, and then I could speak to that. And that's the prophetic. It's helping our friends. It's helping people that we run into every day. Somebody's having a really bad day at the drive-thru. That you can hear it in their voice that they don't want to be at McDonald's that day, serving, and they're just in a bad mood, and that's okay. And but you can, instead of just settling for, okay, they're in a bad mood, and then just whatever, and going on your own way. Or sometimes we'll even, that spirit that they're in, we can react in the same spirit. You ever done that before? Oh, you're in a bad mood. I'm in a bad mood. Yeah, take that. I didn't do anything wrong. And you give it back to them, what they were giving you. But I've been falling in love with some of the worst people lately. It's been amazing. And I really needed that. I really needed help in that area. And so you're at the drive-thru and you see them and you're like, Lord, what are they really saying? What are they really feeling right now? All of a sudden, you'll start to fall in love with somebody who's giving you their very worst because you start to see them for who they really are. You start to see them in the spirit. You start to see maybe that there was some depression on them, and that was why stuff was coming out. And so you just get to speak hope into them. The very people that would have just made you really irritated, you find yourself falling in love with. I think that's the way that the Lord is. I love this kind of stuff. Like I said earlier, I love talking about it. I love writing about it. But mostly I love living it. And that's kind of what we're really wanting to do here. Todd's heart is, revival lifestyle, supernatural lifestyle, not just a meeting. The meetings are awesome for breakthrough and getting jump started and getting things broken off of you. That stuff's great. But then actually taking it and living it, a sustainable, supernatural lifestyle. Way better than a prophetic word is the prophetic spirit. I want everything to be prophetic. I want to be always seeing people in the prophetic. I want to prophesy all day and all night. I just want it to always be coming out of me. I want to be a fountain of life. Anybody else interested in that? I don't want to just turn on the, all right, now it's time to get a prophetic word moment. I want to be always thinking that way, always seeing that way. Whether I say anything to them or not, I want to be always thinking in that direction. What good thing from heaven could I release to them right now at their very worst that would directly dislodge the thing that they have going on in their life? I remember I was, several years ago, I worked retail, and I didn't really love my job that much. It was okay. And anybody had a job like that before that was okay? That was definitely one of them for me. And I just gone on a mission trip. And I just come back from this mission trip, and it was life-changing. On this mission trip, if you've ever been on a mission trip, I kind of exploded on the trip. It was like, in a good way, it was like God was like exploding out of me, and it was like one of the best experiences ever. I came back just like a different person. I was not the same person that I'd left when I was a week before. The reason why I love mission trips is because in about a week of a mission trip, you grow like about a year's worth average spiritual growth. I don't know if that's actually true, but it's something like that. Doesn't it feel like that? You literally come back different. And I remember I came back different, and I was in the store that I didn't want to be at, and I said, Lord, I really want to tell all these people about you right now. Lord, I can't technically do that with my job. Technically, I'm not supposed to do that. So, Lord, when these people meet me, may they actually meet you. And I wasn't just meaning that in like a nice way, like, yeah, I'm just going to be Jesus to everyone. And yeah, I was like, no, Lord, I really mean this. When they meet me, may I actually manifest something of you, Jesus, that actually they have an encounter with you. They have a moment with you. They get told all about you, and I didn't say a thing. May it be that supernatural in that moment. And I remember I was going up to people. I'd go to people, and I'd almost start crying. I'd be feeling the Lord so strong. I'd be feeling it towards them so strongly. I started getting so many people started going up to my manager saying, "Who is that guy?" And it wasn't me. I think they were meeting the Lord. I think the Lord was honoring my prayer, whether it's technically the biblical. I think it is. I think it is a biblical prayer, but the Lord was honoring that. They were meeting the Lord. It was an amazing time. I want to live my life like that every day. Or may this person, this drive-through, whether I say anything or not, I'm gonna try to release something from heaven to them, whatever the opposite of what I'm perceiving on them is. You can use people's negative emotions and what they're going through as a cheat sheet to let you know what you need to release to them. Yeah, you can actually. We have any feelers in here? They feel stuff when they meet people. Oh, I felt depression just then. Or I felt confusion just then. Or I felt this. It's the Lord lets us know that stuff because it's just a cheat sheet for us to know the opposite thing to release to them. It's amazing. People can get so ministered to in that exact moment. Well, it's good to listen to the person, and it's just as good or even better to listen to heaven. What's heaven saying? I love the prophetic. Did I say that yet? Anybody else love this stuff too? It's because I love him. That's the reason why I love this stuff. I'm just obsessed with thinking like how he thinks. I really want to. Um, yeah. Well, something that I felt like we could do was to kind of do an activation, just to actually practice this a little bit. We've got a good, perfect size group for activation, practicing this stuff. So maybe let's try something. Let's all stand to our feet. All right, we're going to use what we just learned. This is your test, because you're going to get another test out there. But this is like the pre-test where you got the teacher still around. Go up to somebody. Let's partner up with somebody that you don't know that well. If you go up and partner up with somebody, I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Web streamers, thank you guys for joining us tonight. We're really excited that you're here with us. I want to let you know that if you wanted to give tonight, if you wanted to sow into Fresh Fire, sow into Todd Bentley's ministry, you can click the donate button below the screen and you can give tonight. We're just so thankful to have you here. Your donations go to missions, go to the building, go to improving sound quality, video quality. And anyways, thanks for joining us. Hope this is helping some. All right, everybody found somebody? All right, so instead of us doing the normal thing where we try to go into a vision for the person, where we try to see a random picture for the person, I love that kind of stuff. I really do. That's the prophetic. That's kind of the foundation of it. All right, Lord, you've been speaking to me all along, and I didn't even know it. I thought I was being ADD, but actually that random thought was you, and I think this is what you meant by that thought. That's the prophetic right there. But let's try something even different tonight, and let's just ask the Lord to just see the person in the Spirit. That's it. Just to see them. Just see Jesus in them. Have an encounter with the Lord. He might be standing right in front of you. And then begin to kind of release from that place. Whether that looks like praying something, whether that looks like just saying something. It doesn't have to look any certain way, but let's just prophesy with our eyes right now. All right? Go for it. Web streamers, you can find somebody in your living room, in your bedroom, wherever you're watching from, and just instead of doing the normal prophetic word thing, try to actually see them. Try to see them, the essence of them. Try to see the Lord.
Faithful witness, firstborn from the dead, ruler of the kings of earth, to him who loved us and washed us from our sins in his blood. You've washed us from our sins in your blood.
30 seconds to wrap up with that person. All right. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to have some fellowship time, some hangout time. But something I wanted to do was if anybody wants a prophetic word tonight or prophetic spirit, I'm just really wanting to release something this evening. Yeah. Nathan, you can keep that music playing. Thank you. I don't know if anybody is seeing the difference here between a prophetic word and a prophetic spirit, but there's such a difference. And they're both really good. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up the back for fellowship time, for hanging out. But I'd like to prophesy over everyone in the building tonight. And so if you want a prophetic word, come on up here.